The JLA has expanded and changed regularly over the years, but as often as the team has grown in both numbers and successes, it has also shattered under the weight of its own failures. On several occasions, villains have destroyed the team, but just as often, this group of complicated individuals with lives, responsibilities and problems have struggled to hold the league together. So with this in mind, I'm Dan from What Culture, and here are 10 times the Justice League were utterly destroyed. Number 10. A crisis of conscience killed the team. The Crisis of Conscience story arc was a companion piece to the acclaimed Identity Crisis miniseries. In it, Wally West gathered the team members of the League Within a League together to tell them that if they didn't tell Batman about the time they mind-wiped him, he would. An argument ensued, and Martian Manhunter, who had just learned the truth, said that Bruce already knew and travelled to Gotham to see him. Also, the secret society of supervillains had reformed. When their own mind wipes were reversed, the League and Society battled twice before discovering that Despero was behind restoring the Society's minds. In a battle in the Batcave, half of the League members were controlled by Despero and fought the other half with deadly force. The return of Red Tornado and the intervention of Zatanna turned the tide. Zatanna then used her magic to mind wipe the Society and fix Wayne Manor before quitting the team for good. After this, all but 4 Leaguers remained, and Martian Manhunter began a search for new members. Number 9. There is no justice. Kingdom Come. Set 20 years into the future, Kingdom Come features older heroes that have long since retired, and in their wake, a second generation of heroes arose, who were little better than the villains they opposed. Wonder Woman visits Superman in his Fortress of Solitude to convince him to return. At first, he refuses, but then accepts that he is needed. It is revealed that Clark created a prison to rehabilitate the criminals, and that prison immediately became overcrowded and out of control. In issue 3, Batman discovers that Lex Luthor's right-hand man is a brainwashed Billy Batson, and then Billy, as Shazam, heads to the superhuman prison to destroy it. A huge battle ensues with Superman, Captain Marvel, and all of the other heroes and villains at the prison. Wanting to deal with the superhuman problem for good, the United Nations authorized the use of a nuclear bomb to wipe the superpowered beings out. And despite Captain Marvel destroying the bombs in the air, only Superman and a few people protected by Green Lantern bubbles survive the blast. After this, the Man of Steel angrily threatens to bring the UN down, and then Clark vows to work alongside humanity rather than above it. Number 8. The world is all robots. Future's End. Future's End was a massive company-wide crossover event set 35 years in the future. Nearly all of the world's superheroes were turned into cybernetic bug-like creatures by the semi-sentient satellite Brother Eye. The elderly Bruce Wayne created a time machine to travel back to the present day, but before he could make the trip, Wayne was attacked by cyborg bugs, forcing Terry McGinnis, the then Batman, to make the trip instead. But Terry arrived 5 years too late, learning that Mr. Terrific was behind the technology that led to the ascension of Brother Eye. McGinnis posed as a homeless person outside of his building to keep an eye on things. Then, Terry attempted to shut down Brother Eye, but accidentally helped it to develop further due to his futuristic technology. McGinnis and a newly resurfaced Red Robin made a final assault on Brother Eye, where Batman sacrificed himself to stop the machine. Terry then travelled back to the far future, only to find the team's efforts changed nothing. Tim then vowed to raise a resistance force and bring down Brother Eye in his own time period. Number 7. Darkseid Wins Again. Final Crisis. Final Crisis was a 7-part miniseries where the Source destroyed the new gods of Apocalypse and New Genesis and unleashed the anti-life equation, which destroyed all free will. Darkseid turned the secret society of supervillains into a terrorist organization and spread the anti-life equation throughout the world. The all-powerful rogue's very presence was destroying space and time around him, and Earth became a black hole where time passed faster. Darkseid subjugated the world's population under the anti-life equation, and for a brief time, he controlled nearly all life in the world. Breaking his one rule, Batman shot a gun at Darkseid with a radium bullet, but not before Darkseid hit Batman with his eye beams, seemingly killing the Dark Knight. Superman then arrived, and Darkseid mocked him, firing the radium gun at him as 2 Flashes arrived with the Black Racer, who removed Darkseid's soul from its body. Clark, working with the now Lex Luthor-controlled Secret Society, freed Wonder Woman, and she used her lasso of truth on Darkseid and forced him to free the world. Using the Miracle Machine, Kal-El restored the Earth to its proper place in the multiverse. Number 6. Destroyed by Perpetua. In Justice League 39, Perpetua had taken over everyone. The Martian Manhunter returned and informed humankind that Perpetua wanted people to live by themselves, to trust no one, and to become predators again. John offered humanity a different path, a path of hope and compassion, but humanity chose Perpetua, and with a mighty blow, she disintegrated all of the core members of the Justice League. Martian Manhunter reformed on the moon and was soon joined by his teammates, having been saved by cosmic entities. The assembled entities explained that the multiverse was no longer united and evil had spread far and wide, causing fear and anxiety among humanity and fostering the rise of doom. This is why the people refused to embrace John's idea of togetherness. However, the quintessence had protected one path through the universal history that might change the tide against Perpetua if the team was willing to fight for it. And in one voice, the League said yes, and leaped into the portal to fight the good fight, perhaps for one final time. Number 5. Justice League Detroit destroyed. The Justice League Detroit was the nickname of the second iteration of the Justice League of America. With the destruction of the Justice League satellite, Aquaman restructured the charter so that all members had to give their full time to the team. In a story arc that began in the Justice League of America, the president abolished all superhero activity. Professor Ivo returned and unleashed android duplicates of himself on the League. One killed Vibe, another wounded Gypsy but took her home, and a third beat Steel so severely that his grandfather turned off his life support. And Vixen then quit the League because the deaths unleashed a monstrous side of her, and Martian Manhunter was left alone at the Justice League compound. Number 4. The villains win. Forever Evil. In Forever Evil, the crime syndicate travelled to Earth 1 and systematically took over. They opened every prison on the planet and invited all of the villains to join them in Happy Harbor for the first meeting of their secret society. Ultraman said that the Justice League was dead and the villains were now in charge. And as sunlight weakened Ultraman, moved the moon to put the Earth in a permanent solar eclipse. Lastly, he told all of the assembled villains that they must swear their allegiance to the crime syndicate and would kill anybody who stood against them. A resistance was soon formed, and Batman revealed that many heroes, including the League, were trapped inside Deathstorm's matrix. Joining with Lex Luthor and a violent group of villains, they cut a deadly path through the other rogues until Batman convinced Luthor to follow his plan and to stop killing. Eventually, Black Adam and Sinestro restored the sun and Batman freed the heroes from Deathstorm. But for a time, the villains reigned supreme. Number 3. Darkseid reigns supreme. JLA Rock of Ages. In JLA Rock of Ages, Metron approached Aquaman, Flash, and Green Lantern for their assistance to track down the Philosopher's Stone. He gave each hero miniature mother boxes and sent them through a portal where they travelled to multiple worlds. In JLA number 13, the heroes made their way back to their own Earth, but in the wrong time period. They awoke in vastly changed bodies, and worse still, Darkseid ruled this world. Aquaman gathered any heroes he could find and finally confronted Darkseid. Then, Green Arrow shot an arrow which the Atom rode in and destroyed Darkseid's brain. Realizing that it was the destruction of the Philosopher's Stone that made this world possible, the three heroes raced back to their time. In the present, the JLA and the Injustice Gang were in the middle of a pitched battle. Luthor was about to destroy the stone when Martian Manhunter received a telepathic scream from Kyle Rayner to protect it. The Manhunter did so, badly burning his hands. Realizing just how close their mistakes came to destroying the world, the founding members chose to disband the JLA. Number 2. JLA betrayed from within. The Tower of Babel. In the Tower of Babel storyline, Batman had a problem. He was only a man with a belt full of gadgets, and he worked alongside gods and people with unimaginable powers. How could he ever stop them if they turned from the side of good? To deal with this possibility, he created contingency plans to take down but not kill every member of the Justice League, and kept the existence of the plans to himself. Then, Talia al Ghul broke into the Batcave and extracted the plans from the Bat computer, while the Caped Crusader was distracted by the thefts of the bodies of his parents. Talia's father, Ra's al Ghul, unleashed the plans on the members of the Justice League, while also using a machine that made the written and spoken word unintelligible to anyone, creating chaos all over the world. The heroes overcame their individual traps and destroyed Al Ghul's machine. Once Batman confessed that these plans were his creation, the shocked Leaguers voted on whether to expel the Dark Knight for his actions, but he left before the vote was completed. And number 1, the death of the Justice League. This final issue of the current Justice League run was by far the most heavily hyped death of any Justice League team. In the story, the Pariah was driven mad by the constant death and destruction that he was forced to witness, whilst working on the antimatter chamber from the first crisis to allow the Great Darkness into the multiverse. The Justice League Incarnate transported the Justice League to their base to aid them against Pariah, and to inform them that the Flash was missing. The Darkness attacked the JLI's base, and they teleported to Pariah's location. Pariah unleashed an army of the League's most powerful foes that were controlled by the Darkness. Batman deduced that the machine must be destroyed, which Green Arrow did with a well-placed shot from an explosive arrow. Doomsday then smashed the Archer before disappearing, and Pariah unleashed a wave of energy that killed each and every Leaguer, except for Black Adam. Black Adam then flew to fight Pariah and shouted Shazam just as the villain directed the energy at him. He landed on the steps of the Hall of Justice and said that the Justice League was dead before passing out. As this is an ongoing story at the time of this video, we ultimately don't know the fate of the team. And that's our list. You can find more videos like this on screen now. For now though, I've been Dan, and I'll catch you in the next one.